Canada's top general has a cry at a press conference, and the intelligence community has unearthed a plot by the Communist Party to establish a beachhead right here in Canada. The rest of the North American community is wondering, is there any other choice? Ladies and gents, welcome back. Hit that like button on the way in. And if you're new here, my name is Clyde. Welcome to the show. Subscribe button's just down there. Let's get right into this news story. Canada's top general. That's right. Top general. If you didn't know who she was, well, you're going to find out today. She was crying while apologizing for systemic racism and discrimination in the forces, a deeply unserious country. This is how Western civilization dies. I'll show you the clip right here.
Systemic racism, racial discrimination, and harassment are an affront to these values, and yet we allowed these injustices to occur and fester within our ranks. Therefore, on behalf of the Canadian Armed Forces, I offer my most sincere and deepest apologies. I apologize to every CAF member, veteran who experienced racism, discrimination, and harassment. And I acknowledge we failed you.
No mention of all the people that were kicked out of the military for not taking an experimental vaccine. That's right. No issue there. Absolutely not. Marty up north also chiming in on this one, saying we're screwed in a little bit more colorful language. Dear Americans, please invade us now. You won't encounter any resistance from our armed forces. No, I don't think you would at all. Let's contrast this with the attitude of the new head of the military in the United States, Pete Hegseth. This is some of the just a couple of clips of just exactly how he handles this kind of crap.
You are actually kicking out these 3 highly qualified service members solely because of their identity. These are trans women.
These are men who think they're women.
These are women. I'm happy to educate you on
but these are men,
on trans
and so
issues at another
what we've
time.
identified is that there's mental health issues with that belief system.
I'd like to turn to General
are detrimental to readiness, and that's the determination that we've made and that we stand behind.
Oops. That's exactly it. If you're not ready for service, well, then you're not ready for service. End of story. That's it. Now, also Pete Hegseth on comments about the boys in bombers. This is unbelievable.
Acknowledge the female pilots that also participated in this mission. The early messages that you sent out only congratulated the boys.
So when I say something like our boys and bombers, see, this is the kind of thing the press does, right? Of course, the chairman mentioned a female bomber pilot. That's fantastic. She's fantastic. She's a hero. I want more female bomber pilots. I hope the men and women of our country sign up to do such brave and audacious things. But when you spin it as, because I say our boys and bombers as a common phrase, I'll keep saying things like that, whether they're men or women. Very proud of that female pilot, just like I'm very proud of those male pilots. And I don't care if it's a male or a female in that cockpit, and the American people don't care.
No.
But it's the obsession with race and gender in this department that's changed priorities. We don't do that anymore. We don't play your little games.
It's over. That kind of thing is over. But is it in Canada? Well, not quite. Not quite yet. Yep, Canada is no longer a real country in any conceivable way. We're just a laughingstock waiting to be conquered by the first nation to invade. And that's really the question. Which nation's going to invade first? Well, when we look at the map of Canada, we look at this, we see this big giant place. But really, realistically, if you look at where people live, the map of Canada looks a little bit more like this. And in fact, this is why Canada's economy is structured the way it is, because the biggest commodity that Canada has is not oil, it's not minerals, it's not trees. It's its proximity to the largest economy on the planet. That's really it. It's right there. You see? You see where what Trump calls the imaginary line, the 49th parallel? Just, yeah, everyone just hugging that, like kids at a candy store outside, pressing their face against the glass, saying, man, how nice would it be to just be in there? And, well, that's why we see a lot of stuff going into the United States like this. Breaking, Canada Border Services Agency finds a huge shipment of, well, you can guess what's in those barrels right there. That's right. The precursors for the bad stuff from China. They were found in 2 marine containers and destined for Calgary, Alberta. This is exactly what the FBI Director Kash Patel was talking about. That is happening while Canada is in Canada while it's being brushed off. Thousands of liters of precursor chemicals from China seized at BC border. Now it's amazing that they were seized at all with the cooperation we're seeing from our law enforcement and CBSA in Canada with the organizations that are running these operations. Now, this might look a little familiar to you, and thank you, Squirrel Nuts. I mean, everyone's got these clever names online. Thank you, Squirrel Nuts, for sharing this. Yeah, looks familiar. Yeah, this is the same kind of stuff that's coming up from places like Venezuela right now. That's right. And Donald Trump even yesterday posting this footage of them busting. So we're gonna arrest your ass. That's right there, exactly. Yeah, well, puns aside, this is what's happening, and the northern border is largely unprotected. This is a problem. This is a problem that the Babylon Bee points out. It says, U.S. to invade Canada to establish a democracy. That's right. Where is our democracy here in Canada? Well, we're yet to see that. But what's happening in Canada, other than Canadians not doing what they should do, like protect their own borders and protect their own land? Well, China is seeing this as a perfect opportunity to set up a beachhead in North America. Here is the intelligence community in Canada trying to tell the public and trying to tell the government this, the government largely ignoring it, the public largely ignorant to this fact because it gets nowhere in the media.
Again, the investigation, Canada Under Siege, how Prince Edward Island became a forward operating base for the Chinese Communist Party. An investigation that really actually spans 5 years of research and intelligence gathering, and an 18-month to 2-year investigation that involved Gary Clement and Michelle Junot-Katsuya, the former chief of Asia Pacific. And it has a deep collaboration, including international and Canadian security experts, whistleblowers, eyewitnesses, religious experts, and consultation with multiple governments on multiple testimony on multiple continents. This investigation began with a question: how did Canada's smallest province become a strategic beachhead for influence and interference and potentially corruption? At first, the story seemed local: immigrant programs, real estate deals, religious organizations. But what we uncovered went far deeper. We followed the money, we followed the networks, and we followed the silence. What we found were clear signs of elite capture, failed oversight, and infiltration of Canadian institutions and political parties at the municipal, provincial, and federal levels by actors aligned with the Chinese Communist Party's United Front Works Department, the Ministry of State Security. In some cases, political donations have come from members of organized crime groups in our country and have certainly influenced political decision-making over the years.
I'll leave a link for this in the description down below. You can go see it in its entirety for yourself. But this is just absolutely ridiculous. And anytime you bring this up online, you get feedback immediately from a lot of Canadians. Hey, how can Americans say this kind of thing? We should take over Canada. Just look at all the things that we've done for you. We fought in the First World War and the Second World War, the Korean War. Well, Americans are tired of hearing about it. It's that friend who did something really nice for you a long time ago, and then where have you been lately? What are you doing now? We're asking you, what are you doing now? You're allowing the Chinese communists to establish a beachhead in the country. John Conrad actually had a write-up here. It's very, very great to hear this kind of thing. I'll leave a link in the description down below where you can go read it in its entirety, but the TLDR for this one is, Canada, we were happy with the tiny bit of effort that you were always willing to put forward. Yes, you did put in effort, and yes, there were sacrifices that you made, but they were not very big compared to the tremendous efforts that the Americans put in defending this continent. That's exactly it. And what do? You complain when people point this out. You complain, and it's crybaby behavior, and America is frankly sick and tired of hearing it. And this is really the sentiment that's going on all over the place. And this is what's happening. The allure or the nicety of Americans towards Canada is quickly diminishing, thanks to people like Doug Ford putting out propaganda pieces in the United States and upsetting Americans. And even the Babylon Bee has come forward and started making videos like this one, why the USA is way better than Canada.
It's totally obvious that America is far superior to Canada. Fireworks, freedom, explosion! I think I proved my point. But if you still don't believe me, just take a look at these 12 things America is better at than our neighbor to the north.
Okay, well, I'll leave a link in the description again for this one. Go check it out. It's hilarious. It's obviously satire. It's not trying to invoke anything, but it is kind of a little bit. Just throw that one on there. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments down below, though. Let me know. What do you think? What's going to happen with a nation that refuses to defend itself, let alone defend the community at whole? Because this is a vulnerability for the United States. This could be considered an issue. This is a sovereignty thing. I mean, Canada at this point, with such tremendous national debt, with no funding of military operations, I think we have 2 days of munitions if anything were to ever happen, is undefended, which means Canada has no sovereignty at this point. What should the United States do in this case? If Canada could possibly become a beachhead for China or Russia or some other foreign nation, is it in the interest of the United States of America to take over the country of Canada? Should Canada become the 51st state? Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.